It's been a month. It's been a month. It's been a month. It's been it's been a month. Ooh, yeah. It's been a month. It's been a month. It's been a month. Yeah. It's literally. It's literally. It's lit. See.
Peace, everyone.
Peace, everyone.
Peace, everyone. The way my technology is trying to take me out ought to be studied. So first time, I'm trying to do it all this morning. Sound not good because people, at the airport. Because I was at the airport. Mind you, I was at the airport. Okay. Video not good because people walk in and out. Even with the blur. And I had a deeper blur. And it's still like they were getting close enough to where they were in the blur. And so, now I'm coming back. I've actually done my first session. So travel is kind of over, which was good. I was very frugal with it. I took trains and things like that. And so I do my little first round with this. And the first one, video quality wasn't good with the regular camera. So I said, let me try my Poly Camera Pro. I clearly paid for it with the computer. Let me try that out. Okay, I do that. Then I realized that I recorded with no audio. Why would you even allow me to record a video? So we're doing it again. Yeah. So I got to my hotel around 2:30. My first session was around 3:30. It wasn't a session I was presenting in, I was attending. It was phenomenal, beautiful, well done. Literally teared up so many times. It was just very impactful, very powerful. Took very copious notes. It was hidden strategies though. Dr. Vanessa Siddlewalker said that, it's not going to be published, it's not going to be publicized. And so out of respect for her and all her work and everything that she just fed us in that session, if you hit me up offline, you know what I'm saying, you're a teacher, you're an educator in this work, I got you. But I will be putting it on here. So no further details will be listed on here. Okay, that's the most mention I'm going to do about it. All right. But it was wonderful. This is not what I was wearing earlier. Y'all saw what I was wearing earlier already. Okay. So I changed this. I freshened up and changed to this.
She's your queen to be. Now let me see. Now let me see. Twirl on them. Yes. Come on, and we see the vision. We see the whole vision. Yes, you look great. You look amazing. You are a phenomenal woman. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Period.
You see the vision. You see it. Now I'm trying to get into these receptions to get fed, honey. So I'm about to go wrap it up. But I will see y'all later. I will keep you up to date. Oh, I didn't even say what I'm doing. That's because I got off track because my technology is trying to be an enemy of my progress. Okay, so basically in this episode, I'm going to walk you through, and we can put this at the beginning. We can put this at the beginning, but we're probably not going to. I'm not just going to keep it right here. We're going to keep it right here. So I'm going to walk you through a conference from top to bottom. I'm going to try to do these updates periodically during the day, at least once a day. We're going to see if I can keep it up. It should be a shorter episode for that reason, but maybe some days will be longer. Maybe when I actually get back home, I'll do, some extra editing and additional talking about stuff. But overall, that's going to be the gist. That's what we're doing. So I will catch you later.
This is my second time trying to record this at home, so let me not be dramatic. Oh, I didn't start with peace, everyone, and welcome back to this episode that did not happen as I said it would. So I only recorded that day. I did not record any other days, nor do I even have many pictures for outfit checks for the rest of the conference either. But I think I forgot, underestimated, confused, misinformed y'all. It's just a lot of not the best adjectives that one would describe as to how I, for whatever reason, imagined that I would have the time and bandwidth socially to do a day of conferencing and come back and talk to you all and then continue conferencing and also talking to y'all. That don't sound like right. And I should have known better. And I do know better, but I just thought, I'm not scheduled to do as many sessions. I'm not scheduled to attend as much stuff. But that's the thing with these conferences. They're so big. You run into so many folks you know from other conferences or other spaces, things like that. And you end up pulled into other sessions. And not to present, but just like, oh, wow, you going to, oh, I need to, oh, I might check that out. Okay, okay. Oh, you going to this? Oh, I can slide to that. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Oh, you available to meet? Oh, let's meet. Let's connect. We in the same place. Let's connect. Because again, you're traveling umpteen thousands of miles to get to this place. You're in a place with people from all over the nation, all over the world to do the work that you're doing, and you're in the same place for a specific short amount of time. You want to maximize that, basically. I try to spend very little time in the room, although I do need some decompressed time to myself to just and not talk to anybody. I'm not social. People think I'm social when they meet me in these settings. When I was doing undergraduate leadership things, people thought, oh no, you're social, girl. You're social. No, I'm not. I am not social at all. I can turn it on. But once I get to safety, I turn it back off. Every time. And with that said, I did not continue recording. Clearly, I am back home. Clearly as well. Thankfully home. So happy to be home. So happy to be home. Traveling can get very exhausting, and traveling for school/work can be exhausting because it is such a not putting on. Again, I'm still myself. I still speak the same way. I still overall act the same way. But in my everyday life, I'm not saying, oh my God, hey, you do such and such and such. Oh, let's talk, let's connect. I don't usually do all that. Again, I'm not super social. If you come up to me, I'll engage with you. But me initiating engagement is not really my thing, but it has to be your thing when you're at a conference. So a few other highlights. So I'd already talked about the talk from Dr. Siddlewalker, which is great. And I will come back to some of those thoughts as I continue going on in this. But another big key thing as far as how I set up my conferencing is to not go to sessions of people that I know or go to school with and or have gone to school with, because I feel that I have access to that information already. I have access to your work already. I have access to you as a person. I don't know how else to say that, but it's the truth. I have access to you. And so I'm not going to be as inclined to go to your session because I could be missing out on someone who, they live across the world from me. This is a one time a year I'm going to see them and be able to connect with them in person and really, they can that way feel me out, and we can maybe, okay, vibe check. Okay, we could work together in the future. This is a very short-lived, amazing opportunity to do that type of work. And so it just, to me, doesn't make sense to be with people who you can see whenever. Honestly, you can just see them whenever. It doesn't make sense to me. So that's a big thing. So even when I'm talking about the sessions I was going to, none of the sessions I was going to had people in them that I knew on a really personal level. The goal of going to these sessions was to get to know these other people, you know what I'm saying? And to have the opportunity to connect with them, to make these new connections. And honestly, I'm going to be on the job market next year. So this is this is a very crucial time for me to be doing exactly that. I mean, if there is no better time than the present, I can't, like, I literally, yeah. I feel like I said that completely all mixed up. I know the saying is something like that, but nevertheless, we're gonna let it slide. I'm not gonna try to fix it. When I say I just got back late last night, so basically this early-ish morning this morning, I'm tired. I've done work today though too, so I've still been up today and doing work and things, and so I feel that I want to get this out while still fresh in my brain, but also please bear with me if the train is just going in so many different directions. But I think I got the first couple thoughts out. Okay. The other thought I had was, and keep in mind, I'm also re-recording this because the first time I tried to record it, the sound was super choppy. And I think it's just something with the headphone connection. Maybe my headphones are dying. Maybe my laptop was dying. I don't know who was having the problem at the time, but the audio was chopping. And you can't be choppy for a podcast. Like, everybody's not going to watch the visuals, and I don't want people to have to rely on the visuals and rely on the subtitles to be able to understand what I'm saying. At that point, I just need to re-record it. So that's why I'm doing that. The other thing that I touched on in that other recording that we're not using is the fact that it can also get tiring to keep going to the same sessions, in the sense that there's nothing new under the sun. And that's not to say that we wasting our time and taxpayer dollars to just, study the same stuff and nothing is new in that way. But what I mean is, in the sense and in the saying that history reveals the mystery, there is nothing new under the sun. We are dealing with these same insidious, debilitating problems that we have dealt with for centuries. And when I say debilitating, I thought about that word very strategically for a couple of reasons. One is the fact that we have the knowledge and even the energy to do what we need to do to uplift ourselves. And by ourselves, I mean the Black community. Among us, we have the knowledge, we have the energy, we have the time to do it all. But what we keep getting hit with is folks who literally try to incapacitate us in one way or another. They bomb us, they, in other ways, unalive us, they shut us down. I'm thinking now about desegregation. And that was the point I made in the other one as well. The integration in quotation marks that we got is not the desegregation that Black teachers and Black parents fought for. It was not the same. And the one caveat I would add for that is especially the Black teachers and parents of the South did not get the type of integration that they fought for, especially. And I think I can say that with confidence, and there's no shade to Black folks of the North at all. But even when you think about the story of Emmett Till and what Emmett Till's mother said about it all, right? It was the fact that she had become accustomed to the idea that, the problems of the Negro in the South is I ain't got that type of issue up here in Chicago. I ain't really got to worry about that. We left the South for a reason. We up in Chicago now. We cool. Up until her son went down to the South. And that really shed a light on, no, what's happening to the Negro in the South can and will happen to us in the North. And even if it couldn't, again, we should be concerned about one another in that type of collective way. It's not us versus them. They're not so different from me. You know what I'm saying? We are the same. There was no protection when he was walking around the South that said, this is a Black boy from the North, treat him differently. That doesn't work. In a similar vein where, folks will try to be like, oh, well, I'm of XYZ different descent. That's cool and great. Again, embrace your culture. Absolutely. No one wants to strip that from you. But the reality is when you walk around in the United States of America as a melanated person, they see Black. They're not asking these follow-up questions. They don't care. They don't care where you're really from, in quotation. They don't care about any of that. They see you phenotypically, and that's what they're moving off of. And so I bring this up to just get very, very specific on the fact that, especially when we look at the Black teachers and Black parents of the South who fought so hard for this new type of schooling that would give them the resources that they needed to just elevate what they were already doing. They were already making miracles out of nothing. They were already, excelling as far as the scholastic, the academic knowledge they were sharing in their classrooms, as well as just the rich history, the racial uplift, even just the ways that there were poems of empowerment written by white authors so that way it fit into the curriculum, but that did a lot to inspire the generations of folks that ended up being in those marches. Because again, those marches weren't the older folks that might have even been some of the teachers in the classroom. These are their own students. These are people who have been raised on this Black Southern education to push them to believe that they could do and be anything they could possibly dream of, and that they must fight for that. And it is their duty to fight for that, honestly. And that's who was able to then push these marches forward and push these protests forward. And so what happened in the court systems and then what happened ultimately in the White House, that's where it all became that's what all got incapacitated. That's where we were deliberately given this desegregation compromise that, has been debilitating. It just, they closed our schools. They fired our teachers. They fired our administrators. They pushed Black kids into hostile white school environments. The teachers didn't want to teach them. The teachers were literally writing to Congress that you can put these kids in my class, but I'm not going to teach them. Like, these are, if you again look through the history books, history is always going to reveal the mystery. Like, they literally were saying they were going to refuse to teach black kids, and then they shut down the black schools. They fired the black teachers, leaving black kids with no choice but to be in classrooms of white teachers who don't want to teach them. And then you wonder why we have now such a gap, in quotation marks once again, an education gap. Well, why don't they learn as much? Oh, what's going on? There's literally, especially that first generation right there, of folks who went into schools where their teachers deliberately didn't want to teach them. They literally was like, I'm not going to do that. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to be sent out and miss school, things like that. Like that, really, when we think of, how did the carceral system get so seeped, honestly, into our education system, that was probably a very big focal point of it. Again, there were other ways that they were kind of modeled in a similar sense, and I think that's more so for scheduling and structure and things like that, technically. But there are also very deliberate ways that discipline came into the picture when we integrated as school systems. And that discipline especially was, again, debilitating. Like, it was just very harsh and, I mean, obviously unequal for black kids. And I laugh because it's the irony of the fact that this is what they saying that it was equality, that we got equality with desegregation. And to look in the faces of black people and say that's y'all's equality, like, this is what y'all asked for. No, like, black teachers and the parents that worked with them in this organizing work had a roadmap. Number one, they were already successful in their schools. It was just the fact, like, okay, you're saying you're sending the state XYZ amount of money. None of that money's hitting my school. We're not able to get the books that you all are saying that we're supposed to have. We're not getting these resources. We need you all to be funneled that over here this way. Like, we need that. It was way less about, we desperately want to be in your schools, and more, listen, where does money go? Because we need to figure this out. We need to work this out. And ultimately, the way the integration happened the way it did just because the government's scared. They scared the white Southerners. They were malicious in what they said, sending it to Congress. But it's also like Congress. Y'all be so ready to sweep up and arrest this person and literally unalive so many people who did not even commit crimes because you thought they might have committed crimes. I know Congress don't do that, but ultimately the machine, the state, like police, ultimately is doing that stuff. Y'all so quick to do that, but y'all couldn't arrest these people? Like, oh, you threatening a member of Congress? Arrested. Like, y'all could have been just filling up the jails with these white people. Cause they saying off the wall stuff to you. They saying they're trying to hurt you and yours for what you're trying to do for other people. And y'all let that slide and instead did what they wanted you to do, literally. Nuts. And I got on this tangent, if you will, even if you want to call it a tangent, of school desegregation / integration, because that is fundamentally why I say that, after so many years of going to the conference, it can get kind of monotonous because we have just been stuck in this same cycle of issues because of the ways that I don't know that I have faith that the state can get us where we need to go. I don't think I have faith in them at all. At all. I don't think, and again, I'm going to still maintain ties with academia and research and stuff like that, but that's also why I'm putting a lot more of my energy. Like, it takes extra energy and time that I could be using toward my dissertation. I could be using it toward research assistantship. I could be using it toward getting a second job. I could be using it for a lot of different things, but I'm using it in this way because I really just want to share this information that otherwise gets locked up in the academy. Yes, we often do write op-eds as well, but how many folks have been taking up audiobooks, like crazy, right? And so it's not exactly an audiobook because I'm not reading op-eds verbatim. I don't know if I'd even be allowed to do that because I don't want to make it seem like it's my op-ed. Although when I write an op-ed, I do have an op-ed. I can read that to y'all. Y'all want to, we can do a reading one day. I can read a paper to y'all that I wrote for sure. See, This is why I like voice notes. And this is why I podcast now. Because, see, these ideas, they just pop up every now and then. And then now we got to. Now, I don't think it would take a full episode to read one. So it would probably be like bonus content. Like, one week we'll have a bonus content where this is basically an audio book, like a audio journal, audio op-ed. I don't know how to name it, but this is an audio version of a paper so that way it's my own work, so I don't get no copyright issues. But yeah, I'm gonna do that. That sounds dope. That sounds like a good episode. Cool. But anyway, I said to say this is an audio version of the work that's out there, so you don't have to go through and read them. And then yeah, they have like some press play thingies, but I'm also synthesizing it around certain topics, so that way if you're interested in that topic, I'm gonna give you a good span of information about that topic, and you can obviously go look up more stuff on your own. That's also why I try to show pictures of the citation of the article that I'm referencing, so you can go and look for it yourself as well and take your own interpretation, because nothing is objective. Nothing is objective. Even my facial expressions when I read a certain thing probably shows what I think about the thing, so nothing is objective. Everything is subjective, and that, is a big reason why I'm doing this work. It's a big reason why I'm super involved as I can be in a community that I'm not from. Like school takes you to different places and you have to make a conscious effort to be involved there, but not in an extractive way. Like I didn't just get involved because I'm now trying to do my dissertation, but I've been trying to be involved since I got here and meet people. And again, not only in like an education type space, but in any type of space. I've met people that do all types of different types of jobs and stuff like that. And I've been enjoying it. And I really love this city, probably also because of that, because I feel connected to the city. And I see myself in the city. I see myself in the people that I run into randomly and the people that I get to know on a more significant level. So that is a big reason for it. And so with the conference and nothing being new under the sun, in the sense that we're dealing with so many of the same issues, to where 2025 doesn't look that different from 1965, doesn't look that different from 1945, 1925, 1845. Like we can go farther back and all these little multiples of 5 and think about the ways that we are not really seeing new stuff. We're not seeing new policies. We're not seeing new ideas, even like the racist ideas we're seeing. The racist attitudes that are coming up to the surface, the racist statements that I'm seeing on socials and in other spaces, things like that, they look real similar to shit they already was saying in the past to us. This stuff they've been saying. They got quieter for a moment, and yeah, the algorithms have now changed, especially that one app that used to be the Bird app and now it's something else. The algorithms have changed to where you are forced to be face to face, at least for me. And that's also because I took pretty much ever since Elon Musk has owned that app, I have been off of that app pretty much ever since. So my algorithm, it's lost, completely lost. It don't know what I want. It don't know what I like. So for those who stayed with it, maybe yours is still good. Mine is not. So maybe I'm speaking out of turn as far as you go, but as far as me, the algorithm is trash, and I'm being put face to face with shit that I don't want to see, basically. I know what you think about me. I don't need to be inundated with it on a daily basis. Like, you want me to stay up social media? Cool. You can say less. I feel like I spend way less time on my social media now that I'm posting to social media than before I was posting social media. I, at this point, only really get on my socials to do the posts, and I get right back off of them. Like, it's so interesting. But yeah, I think I have yet to finish that thought. The thought is that we can continue to try to innovate and say how things should change, and we could even do small experiments, if you will, test groups and pilot programs and all these different things where we do these changes. But for them to get taken up on a national sphere or international sphere, because some people are doing international work, and for them to affect the lives of all Black children, for example, all Black children on a national federal level, I don't see it. And I do think that we have to now come more into our community spaces, our personal spaces, and do that work subversively, do that work fugitively, do that work off the record. You know what I'm saying? Do that work outside of academia. Do that work outside the court cases and the courtrooms. Do that work outside of the Capitol buildings and the Washington D.C.s of it all. I think we're at that point again. And we were already at that point. We were at that point before Brown v. Board. We were at that point. That's what they were doing. They were doing their own thing. They were making it happen. They were making miracles out of nothing. They were doing the thing, right? They were doing it. But they had a desire, and they deserved more. They had a desire for more, and they deserved more. And that got misconstrued. I mean, just chewed up and spit out in such an ugly manner. Disgusting. Yeah. So that is the super longest way I could describe why I'm getting less and less session heavy and more connecting with people and doing more of the, community-based things that I've been doing, and taking the opportunity to be at the conference to really like network, expand, share obviously what I'm coming up with in my own research. I've presented 2 out of 3 times I've gone there. The first time I didn't, I just was kind of going to see what it's all about. That's why I think I was so session heavy. And now it's more so reconnecting with folks I already know, seeing how their work is, changing and evolving, and just these indirect conversations I can have with them. Attending certain sessions that are especially salient for my work, like that I really feel like, ooh, like this is really gonna fuel something or feed something for me. And then, yeah, having some Black joy, seeing other Black people in the work is always great. I think I really hit all the points. And I think this is almost the exact same time the other one was, because that, I think I've said in multiple other episodes at this point that I could do a whole episode on school desegregation. This is not that episode, because I did not really hit y'all with all the facts I could have. I'm just kind of talking and venting a little bit post the conference. This is not me really presenting on it, but I could. Because again, we're seeing so much of the same stuff, and history really reveals the mystery. We have such a beautiful roadmap from Black teachers of the past and what they have done to really produce just like wonderful results of empowerment within the community. Because I think we also have to get past just academic achievement, because I personally, one student comes to mind, like having a student where you see, it's not even potential, like you see the live and the living and thriving intelligence in them. Because sometimes potential is like, oh, it could happen. No, it is. Like, he is smart. He does know. But this deliberate, ways that he was trying not to show that in these assessments, and, trying to get in as a third grader, trying to get him to understand that, like, honey, you say you hate doing the tutoring, you hate when they pull you out. They're pulling you out because when you test, it says that you can't read. And so you're getting mad that they're trying to act like you don't know anything, but they think you don't know anything because the test says you don't know anything. And I wish that I could get you out of taking this test, but I can't. Now, there are avenues where parents can get out of testing, but as a teacher, I cannot get you out of this test. Like, I wish I could. I wish I could do a letter to tell them he don't like testing, but he's smart, he can read, leave him alone, but I can't. And I don't even know how I got on the topic of stuff. I don't even know how that came to my mind, honestly, y'all. I don't know where that came from. But I think the point being is just that the numbers on record for a lot of our students are not real. And sometimes it's the fact that they've had teachers that have stolen the joy of learning from them, and they would rather not perform well and just, in a sense, give up on school in the formal sense than to, perform at grade level and to, do get all the accolades, things like that. In that way, we really have to go beyond education, focus primarily and solely on academic achievement, and get back to that holistic education that was just honestly more common when we were not integrated into schools, right? The ways that there was community support for the health of not just the kids, but also the parents and their families, folks who are not in that schoolhouse with them. The time and energy taken to really be a part of that community. So not just a teacher that's coming in to go do their job at the school, heading back to their home after the school day is over, and never really even making contact with the family or the community past that point. That holistic model is a lot of extra labor. That holistic model takes a lot more time and energy. That holistic model requires a lot more resources for that reason. be it, time, money, things like that. Like, it does take a lot of additional resourcing, which is why the teachers were asking for equal resourcing, because they needed more resources to do the work that they were doing. But I just feel like we are in a position where we have to do what has been done by folks before us to get us back to something, or to get us forward to something that those before us would be proud of. And not in the sense like, just to make them proud, but like, oh wow, like we've really come so far, that type of way. Because I feel like if we hit them up on the hotline to heaven and let them know, the stuff that's going down right now in the American education system, especially when it comes to Black children and Black families, Black communities overall, they'd be like, "You said it's what year? Hold up, what year did I pass? And it's 2025? They're saying what? What's happening at the White House? Who's running around the White House doing what? They're not even a citizen? Excuse me?" Like, stunned and amazed. Stunned and amazed, I'm sure. So in that sense, getting to a point where they could be like, wow, our great however many grands have gotten us, somewhere that we couldn't have imagined for ourselves. I don't think it's going to happen while I'm still here either, but I want to work toward it. Yeah. And so I think another big thing for me, not just coming from the conference, but just in general, is making sure that especially Black kids feel joy around learning. And I think that was something that was done pretty well in not all, because I'm sure someone might be like, oh, that wasn't my experience in a Black Southern segregated school. And I'm sure someone could say that. But those teachers who were, deep in this Black tradition of education, because also within that first session, Dr. Siddle Walker talked about how she had the opportunity to go back to maybe a couple programs in Africa, but I know at least one program in Africa, and present some of her research and how she was thinking, but did not want to formally say it until she got confirmation that this, tradition of Black education, especially in the South, during segregated school times seemed to be very similar to the school structures in West Africa. And after, talking with several scholars there in West Africa and going to their schools and things, they were like, yes, like what Black teachers in the South and the segregated South were doing with their students and how they were encouraging them and giving them, the proverbs and things like that. Y'all clearly kept that going from across the sea. Like somehow that survived with us. And also even surviving the years where we could not formally teach ourselves and we could not formally practice the education that we were used to. Like somehow still that stayed with us. And I did not expect to even go that route. It was just when I started thinking about the joy in Black teaching that is often so void of just traditional American teaching, white teaching, for being more specific, that I always think about my kids. My kids are, and by kids I mean former students. My kids are a big push for me to finish, honestly, because there are times where I want to quit. I had a time like that a week ago, honestly. I'm gonna leave this in here though. I'm being very candid with y'all. But I really wanted to quit my program. Like I wanted to quit. And it wasn't really because of lack of support from my advisor at all. It was just fed up with. So if y'all have not been following, things with academia, understood, but they have been pulling funds. And they are pulling funding for any projects that are basically DEI. And everything I do is a Black focus. So that's DEI, right? They pulled $2.5 million from us right before that conference I mentioned. And I think I also maybe alluded to how expensive it is to, get across the country to go to a conference, things like that. They pulled the money up from under us. We've been kind of scrambling ever since to figure out if we could continue doing the work that we were doing on the project and just all types of stuff like that. And it pissed me off. Like, again, it wasn't for lack of support or lack of trying on my advisor's part at all. I was pissed that my school did not care. I was pissed that my school was more than willing to hang us out to dry and to not really assist us at all. I was pissed that we're even in a position as a country where this is happening, where we're having an assault on knowledge in this way. Pissed, just and also the ways that we then had to cancel a program that was going to be supporting Black undergraduate students in a very thoughtful, intentional way. Like, and even I'm like dancing around it, but that thoughtful, intentional way is wrapped up in having this Black joy within education, and not just elementary level, right? Like, these are undergrads. Not joy in learning should not stop in kindergarten. Like, people's last fond memories of school should not be when, like, school was kind of just this place that you're going, but you're not really sure what it is yet. And then once we get to the content, you're exposed to anti-Blackness and teachers who just want to punish you and not teach you. Like, a love for education and for learning and for being at school should exist. Like, that it should be a thing. Kids spend so much of their everyday life, like, as kids, in school buildings. When you think about Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3-ish p.m. for how many years, right? That's so much of their childhood in one space, or in one type of space, being a classroom, being a school. They should have joy in that. You know what I'm saying? That should add to their childhood. It should not be a negative memory. It should not be something that pushed them into the prison system. It should not be. I almost went off on another tangent, and then I have to end it here. Conferencing. So I had a good conference. I'm back home. And I'm also working on my dissertation proposal. I will let y'all know any updates with that come up in the next week or so. And yeah, I will catch y'all next time. I really, once I get on this topic, it's hard for me to get off. So I have to practice self-control, and we're going to stop there. But I'll see y'all next time.